Most people think that getting rich is about the big moves. But what if I told you that it's actually about those tiny, almost invisible habits? So I'm going to share with you those small, almost unsexy habits that made me mentally, emotionally, financially stronger, that quietly built my global business, my confidence, and my really strong mindset. I wasn't always very sure about myself. I used to be highly anxious. Not always, but there was at least this one big chunk of time in my life when even a doorbell ring used to make me feel anxious that my heart would pound and I would get in my quilt in my bed wanting to feel safe. That was my state at one point. I started exploring with different things just to see if some actions, really small habits, can take that anxiety away. If not fully, then maybe a little bit. For example, I observed this behavior in me, that if I would wash my hair a day before, like in the evening, the next morning I would have less anxiety of washing my hair and then starting my work. Imagine something as small as that actually having an impact on your anxiety. Another example, I would feel really anxious applying for a visa, and I know it's a very universal thing, but I would get in a really strong freeze mode. Like I wouldn't act till the very last date, and you don't want to have that experience with something as important as visa. It gives you a lot of pressure in the end. What I started experimenting with was I would watch a YouTube video of step-by-step how to apply for that visa, and I started observing that my anxiety would just go away. I wouldn't feel the anxiety even though I was doing the same task. I learned one thing from this entire process of experimenting, that it's not the big things that make a difference in your life. It is those small habits when done consistently, which are completely unique to you, your psychology. That is what makes a huge difference in your life. I'm going to share some really easy habits for your emotional growth, financial growth, and physical and mental strength. Let's start with habits for emotional growth. First thing I did was I would process difficult emotions every single day, no exception. So we all grew up in a very fast environment and in a very negligent, avoidant environment just because it is designed as so. And we forgot that we are human beings and we have emotions, the good ones, but also the bad ones. And we have instances in life that have a negative impact on us, and especially emotionally. We never processed those emotions. They kept piling up. Now we think that we are just forgetting, it's not important, it's fine, I've moved on, but your body stores emotions. So if you try to grow in life by having those stuck emotions inside you, suppressed deep within, then what you're doing is you are actually creating all that you want to create through that wounded self, right? And I've been doing deep work since forever, and I realized that I was also building my habits, building my business from a space of fear, from a space of lack of self-worth, etc. So I would sit every day and work on my emotional healing, and I have made a video only and only on this topic, so you can go and watch it and you will know exactly step by step how to do that. So either I would journal, I would sit in silence, I would observe these difficult emotions, I would do a particular practice that we do in our free sessions that are running these days. I would go back into the memory and process the memory and rewire the memory in my brain so that now that memory has a different emotional response altogether. And if you want to join our free sessions, the link is in the description. Distancing myself for my growth. Now, it is not something that I consciously chose to do, but it just naturally kept happening. I just naturally kept distancing from almost everybody, and not in a negative way, not in an avoidant way, but I wanted to take as much space as I could to build my life from ground up, not from picking up the bits and pieces that I had around. I wanted to have a ground zero from scratch foundation built and building my life on top of that. Cutting that noise from my environment not only helped me focus on the good part of the growth, but also the negatives, the setbacks, and the reprogramming work that I needed to do to have a very holistic growth. Not engaging in negativity. Now, I made a rule with myself that I would not engage in conversations that are negative, that are not productive. That doesn't mean that I wouldn't hear my friend out who wants to vent out, but talking shit about people, self-pity conversations, all conversations like, the world is going to the dogs, nothing is working right in the world, or any conversation which is not leading us to actually grow and evolve, I would not be in those conversations. And let's say I'm talking to somebody or a group of people and I see that the conversation is going in that direction, I would just politely, respectfully leave the conversation. I wanted zero negativity in my life. So these are some habits I followed for financial growth. Making sales calls even when I was not confident. Now, I have been coaching people for free as a hobby, as a passion since forever, since more than a decade. And I realized that this was my passion and I really wanted to do this. But that habit of just not really selling it was so deep-rooted that I had to tell myself that we're going to get on sales calls even when we're not ready, even when we think that the person on the call will say no, or I don't have a proper offer, I don't have much research done, whatever it is. I have been getting these messages of people asking me questions that, hey, I have this problem in my life, how do I resolve this, or how do I manifest this goal, etc. And I would guide them on messages knowing that just having a chat with somebody on a message really doesn't take them anywhere. So I started asking people that, hey, I'll help you on the chat, and I did. And then I would ask them that, hey, would you like to get on a call to explore how we can work together so that you're not only chatting with me and getting a quick high from the chat, but you're actually making a difference in your life. And I started getting on these calls. Some, I would say the first 3 or 4 calls I did, they actually turned into proper clients, paid clients. And some that I did not at all. And I did not really feel disappointed because I knew that this is my learning process and I got to put myself in a momentum and keep taking feedback and keep also checking with my emotional state that what happens when I get a no, right? If it is really bothering me, that means I have to go inward and maybe work on something, right? So I did the sales calls without being ready. Making offers for my service even when I thought I don't know what I'm doing. For example, I was speaking to this guy who was organizing this event for a company who did a mix of dating and social experience. So they wanted somebody to host the event at their place. They ideally wanted somebody in Gurgaon, but I said that I am in Delhi. And we started ideating and I was like, you know what? I can have you guys over to my place. We can do an event and I would really like to host it. I am a mindset shifting coach and I had just started my journey then. So I told them that, hey, you know what? I can take your people through a process so that they can have a better relationship with themselves, because that is very essential to have a beautiful relationship with somebody else. So it sort of aligned with the company, it aligned with my work, and I was like, I'm not gonna do it for free. And I made a sale of 7,000 rupees, $100, which was such a big deal for me. It was such a win. I felt so good that I made an offer of 10,000 rupees. They were like, sorry, we can't do, we're a startup. And we closed at 7,000 rupees. And I did it even when I was not ready. So even while the event was happening, I was conducting it. I got a lot of feedback of what worked really well for people and what did not. For example, I asked my cook to make a drink for them, just normal drink that we would have on our special days, just soda, different fruits, strawberry, lime, blah, blah, blah. But when I served it to people, I told them to just check, what is it called? What is that effect? Placebo effect. Yes, just to check to what extent placebo effect works. And people actually got high drinking that thing. I told them it has some Ayurvedic herbs and stuff, and you will feel that high so that you can relax down, so that you can participate in the event without any inhibitions. It was crazy. I was able to have that experience just because I made the decision to make an offer. The worst that can happen when you make an offer is somebody can say no. The thing is that even when you're not making the offer, it's still not happening, right? So there's nothing to lose. Now, this habit made a huge difference in my financial growth, which is giving without expectations. I wasn't only giving value to people who could be my potential clients. I would find any way. I would be aware of those opportunities where I could give some value to somebody, whether it is the staff that was working at a home. I would keep giving them advices, cash, however much I could, although I was really struggling financially at that time. Yeah, like giving people advices, hearing people out when they want to be heard. So that really adds up, not only in terms of what comes back when you give, because it always comes back, but also while you're giving, you feel like a more expansive person, right? So you believe in your strengths more. You believe that you have value, and that's a game changer in growing your business. These are some habits I formed for my physical and mental energy. So first, I went on daily walks no matter what, no exceptions. Of course, like there were days when I just did not want to get out of bed. Maybe I was too tired, I was exhausted, I was sick. So I would just get up, go to my terrace, walk for a minute and come down. The reason why I built this habit, because not only for your physical health and also that you lose weight faster, your digestion gets better, all of that is there. But I also realized that when my body moves, my energy shifts so quickly. Like if I'm in a bad mood, my vibration goes so high very quickly just when I am under an open sky and I'm moving. It just gets my energy so high, and I decided to juice it out, never quit this. So I would go on walks every day, and on my walks, especially on my terrace, I got one of the best ideas for my business that really made a difference in my sales, in my programs being sold, and also the kind of clients I would bring in my business. It's those walks on the terrace that made a huge difference. Second thing I did here was I made small health choices. Now, I don't know if you are like me, but I used to be this person who would find big solutions, like let's make big changes, let's change everything, let's take big steps, so that also when we tell people, they're like, wow, so good. All of this is coming from ego mind, and it's not even that effective, because over the time I realized that it is those small things for your health that you can do that really boosts your energy, right? The things that I started doing was I started learning about Ayurvedic things. Something as simple as drinking coriander water in the morning. So that's what I started doing, and I started seeing instant difference, and I was able to heal my thyroid. I did different things. I've made a video on how I use my mindset, the power of my mind to heal my body. I used to wear specs all the time. If I did not, my head would hurt, my eyes would hurt. I do not wear specs anymore. I was able to do that with the power of my mind. I healed my thyroid. It was super high, came back to normal, and so many other things. So yes, if you haven't watched that, please do, because you will be able to realize that you right now possess so much power in your mind. So I started doing that. I would do something as simple as getting a blood test done, and just to know what is going on inside my body. And even now when I work with my clients, I suggest them to get a blood test done, so that at least they know that if they are having really low mood days, maybe it's not related to their mind. It could be related to a very low vitamin D deficiency, right? Maybe, we don't know. So how do you know? Get a blood test done. That's what I did, and now it's a practice I do. Very regularly I get my blood tests done. So yes, I started taking vitamins. I started making small changes in my diet. So something I learned from a flatmate with whom I used to live in Delhi with was that she wouldn't have carbs in the evening. And I was like, how can you have dal without roti? That was just my programming. And I saw her enough number of times to not do that. I was like, let's just see if I like it or not. And I actually started enjoying it, because I knew that what it is doing to my body, right? Small things made a huge difference. Huge difference. Now, this particular habit that I did was just so powerful. If you do not want to adopt anything, adopt this one particular habit, which was I kept feeding my mind with healthy stuff every day. How did I do that? I was always in one or the other coaching program, working with really amazing coaches. I've been doing that since 13 years, and I'll be doing that all my life, because I understand the value of always programming your mind, using the power of your mind to build more, and it gets easier and easier, right? It's so much fun. That's what I did. I was always paying to be in communities where I can speak to people who are on the same journey, and I would have these one-hour-long conversations in which we would practice act as if. It's something I used to manifest my free trip to Switzerland, speaking offers internationally, and a lot more. And if you haven't watched that video, that's the first video that you need to watch. I'm going to pin it here, and also I'm going to put the link in the description. Please stay. I need to go, girl. And this is the reason why I make sure that in my community, people are speaking to each other, they're connecting with each other on a deep basis, because you never know what sort of collaboration you do, or if not any collaboration, the sort of synergy you have, you exchange your notes and you're building so much faster than rest of the people. So harness the power of your mind, do whatever it takes to feed your mind with really healthy stuff on a daily basis. And I'm going to make it really easy for you. Get on the free sessions that we are doing these days. We are working on exactly this. First of all, releasing the crap from your mind and now filling it with those seeds that are going to grow into everything that you want, your personal goals. This is the last amazing habit that I built. If you adopt this one, your energy is going to change a lot, which is that I stopped sharing my plans and almost their wins with anybody, even with my family. Why? Because when you share your plans with people, you are subconsciously wanting to seek some sort of validation. What that does is it gives you that high, making you feel like you already have what you want. Not the kind of work we do in our program in which you feel like you're already there and your then subconscious leads you there. But it's from a different sense in which it's more about the chemical in your mind. You feel like, oh, I've already done that. Now, why do I have to move or make something habit or go through the uncomfortable process of making it happen? Why? Because you already got that validation from your people by sharing with them that, oh, you know what, I'm going to be doing this. Oh, you know what, I'm about to make this sale. This client is about to come. So I stopped sharing my almost wins with anybody. When the client came, the money was in the bank, I shared with my people. Now, two things that I loved about this process. First, I felt good that I was able to hold space for myself throughout the process while nobody else knew. Of course, I had my coaches have coaches, everybody has coaches, everybody who wants to win in life have coaches. I will share with my coaches, work on this, do my subconscious reprogramming, all of that, and maybe share it with a friend who is maybe on a similar journey or ask for guidance from people who've done this, but nobody else. And when I shared with my parents, the first $10,000 client that I got, they were just shocked and so happy and also a little shocked, more than a little shocked. So it was really satisfying to see them respond to my success this way. So keep your goals to yourself to whatever extent you can and share it with people only when you know that you are getting that progressive energy in your goals and not that false feeling of that it's done already, I don't need to do anything in my life anymore. I got the high that I needed just by getting that validation from my people. So watching videos won't really change your life. Actually, take any one habit and implement that in your life. And maybe you're already implementing some habits that are working for you. Just comment below which one you're gonna implement and come back after a week and write down how did that impact you. Let these small habits build the wealth for you because they can. Bye!